I cover all streaming platforms on this channel, but I only stream with Ecamm Live Pro, which brings up a lot of questions, especially from my StreamYard family looking to make the transition. So I've compiled those questions. Can I schedule my shows, show videos and overlays, add cameras and host webinars, and much more into the ultimate transition guide, showing them feature by feature in StreamYard and its counterpart in Ecamm. Spoiler alert, not only does all the things work that StreamYard has in Ecamm, but Ecamm actually does it better. Buckle up, it's gonna be a wild ride, and you might see some stuff that meets and exceeds your expectations in the full video. So first up, we have I set up destinations, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. All right, well, let's take a look at what that looks like in StreamYard. So in StreamYard, we have the setup right here, looking at the dashboard, and you have destinations, and you have a GUI that will take you through adding those destinations: Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter, there's Instagram, and there's some other things there as well, but you would simply go through, click on one of these, and it would march you through that GUI to be able to add your destinations. That's how it's done in StreamYard. Let's take a look at what it looks like in Ecamm. So here's an Ecamm. We simply go back to our preferences window, go to destinations, and you'll see I have a number of destinations already here. Add new destination is at the bottom, and Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn. I think that is Twitch, and we can also add RTMP. We can add Amazon Live, Instagram. Then you also have multi-streaming platforms like Restream, Switchboard Live, and OneStream. But right now I'm showing you some Facebook settings that you can see. It's actually the GUI, or the guide is actually simpler. You have all the things and accesses that you have for that platform right there. So that's question number one. Now, what's question number two? You may ask, can I schedule my live shows from the platform? Okay, that's a favorite for StreamYard. You can just go right here to live stream, select your destinations, put your title, description, select schedule for later. As long as you upload a thumbnail, you can customize for each of the platforms. Very simple, definitely something that you don't want to lose if you're making the transition. Well, over here in Ecamm, you would simply go to make sure you're actually set to stream. That's the type of session you're in, so you can actually set it to stream and record. And then once you have that set, in fact, if you have anything scheduled, it'll show you your schedule right there in upcoming. That new button is the one you want to click. Click on new, then you have your title, description. You can set your visibility. You can set the latency. You can even set your privacy there. Schedule for later. You can add your thumbnail, set your time and date. Everything is there. And you can add additional destinations right from this screen. So if you want to add a new destination, that's the previous question, but all of that is right here waiting for you, and it works fairly seamlessly. So that's question number two. What about question number three? Where do I upload videos? Can I share videos to? That's a good question. Now, over in StreamYard in the studio, you have two ways of doing that. You can actually go to present, and you can go right here where it says video file, and you can select a video file from your computer, and the computer is going to come up, and we can select a video file from there. When you do that, there's no limitation. But then you also have videos that you can upload into StreamYard right here. So a lot of people love that, but it does have some limitations. 200 meg or 10 minutes. Now let's take a look at what that looks like over in Ecamm. So Ecamm, you have three different types of scenes. You have screen share, you have camera, and then you also have video. So here they are, video file, and you can select any video file on your computer. Keep in mind, Ecamm is locally installed. So there is no uploading. It's going to play. So everything behaves as in the first way that we showed over in StreamYard. So you can select a file. This is my masterclass file. And when you play that, it's actually going to immediately give you a picture-in-picture setup for that scene. And you can see this is a 50-minute video. It plays flawlessly because Ecamm is locally installed on your computer. And so you can see what that looks like. You can see some of the things there. You have some other options in terms of muting it and all this other stuff. And there's some scene layouts and designs. You can control some of that in sound levels. I don't want to get too deep, but you definitely can play videos in Ecamm. And in fact, it's a far simpler scenario than I think it even is in StreamYard. Now, I'm going to actually do one other additional way to play a video, which is as an animated overlay. So I'm just going to grab a video from my hard drive, drop it into the overlay scene and say show in current scene. And you can see here, I'm selecting add animated overlay, and I'm just scrolling the wheel to make it smaller, bigger, because it's on top of my camera. We can design that however we want. We can give it a backdrop, we can give it a glow, we can give it a border. We have a lot of options we can do here, and you can set it to loop, or you can just leave it as it is. So definitely we can do videos. Next question, what about transparent overlays, show graphics, and backgrounds? I'm so glad you asked. Now, over in StreamYard, we have all the different things that you could ever want. Overlays like this one, definitely one that my show is known for. Overlays like, let me take this background off. So we have a bunch of backgrounds here. I'm gonna hide that background. Then I'm gonna put another overlay on. This is a transparent overlay, which has my logo and then my lower third. Here's yet another one with my website and then my signature. But here's even yet another one with a lower third in the middle of the bottom. These are definitely doable in StreamYard. We don't want to lose that functionality. How does it work in Ecamm, you might ask? And I'm glad we can show that to you. There's a whole overlays window, and you can do all kinds. I mean, web widgets, you can do pictures, videos, graphics, and it's 3 different sections: background, current scene, and all scenes. And those can be very useful depending on what you're doing. And so I'm going to kind of build here a little bit. I'm putting one in the background, and I'm going to just kind of change this scene out for you to be able to see what that looks like. So I'm actually going to add another camera so that you can see what that background looks like. We put that background there. Now we have this other camera. I'm going to grab a overlay that shows the 2 cameras, and you can see now that the 2 cameras are there. It's got that border. That's something that would work perfectly in StreamYard, and it works here in Ecamm. When I click that eye to hide it, it hides that overlay. And so here we've gone back to 1 camera. I'm going to put a 1 camera overlay in. Actually, that's the wrong one. Let's get rid of that. That's a screen share overlay. Let's get the, yes, there we go. 1 face cam. You can see what that cropped look looks like. So yes, we can absolutely do overlays with Ecamm. Here's a transparent overlay with the lower third on the bottom right, and you can see what that looks like. You could type your name right in right there. A lot of functionality. It can function the same way, or you can do it totally different. Here's a full screen overlay that says we will be right back. But that gives you kind of a full idea and window into what this looks like from StreamYard. From Ecamm. So here we're just kind of turning them on and off and allowing you to see some things as we get ready to move on. So that question is answered. What is your next question? Gotta have live comments for engagement. Does that work? Well, I'm glad you asked yet again. Of course it works in StreamYard for those who've never used StreamYard, but of course this is a guide for StreamYard, but this is our comments, and that's what the comments might look like if you were in StreamYard. So comments are good. You have a whole comment section. You can favorite your comments, and that allows you to know where the comments are. You can get your comments from every platform that you're currently streaming to. So all of those functionality we want to make sure we have over in Ecamm. Here we go. And so now we're over in Ecamm, and you have this whole comment window, right? So we have this very similar setup. So we have this on the side, and this brings up a window. You can see comments and reactions. I've got comments left over from a previous live show. I've got one that's starred. You can see that I favorited one, and my moderator put the Q colon in front. That allows me to know that it's a question. And you can see, I'm just kind of scrolling through to make sure you see these are all YouTube comments, but here is a Facebook comment, and it shows which platform it's coming from by putting a little logo there. But you just click right on the comment for it to come on screen. You can see that that comment animates on screen by coming from the bottom. And you can change a lot of those functionality just by going in. You can change the background color, the style. You can change the shadow. You can change where it flies in from the bottom, top, left, right. If I uncheck this, you'll see that the purple will go away. It's gone and it comes back. See, there it is. Let's show that a little zoom in on it, and then let's bring it back because we need the purple. But that allows you some more branding. It allows you to kind of put your stamp on it. You have a lot of functionality and control where your comments are concerned, really engaging. As the question said, you can really engage with these comments because people feel like, man, I'm a part of the show. And so these are some of the things I wanted to kind of showcase here in terms of comments for Ecamm. Here's a comment from Facebook, comments from YouTube. I'm going to show a comment here from one of my moderators, and it even shows that she has the wrench and she's a member of my community, a member on YouTube. So it shows the yellow dot for that as well. All of that is some of the things that you can do with comments. Another thing that I like to do is actually save my comments. In fact, you're seeing the comments in use during this video this entire time because the comments are how I'm bringing up these questions. And so what is our next question? Next question is slides. What about slides? That's the next question. All right. So let's look at that in StreamYard. In StreamYard, you'd go here to go to present, you can go to slides, and of course you can do Google Slides, or you can bring in your PowerPoint, or you can even share your screen, but I like to upload them as a PDF, which is what I just did here. I'm going to add that to the screen. Let's take this overlay off, and then you can just kind of go through the slides. Really cool. And if you have your camera on there, you can actually set it to where it's a picture in picture. So you have some options there on StreamYard. Pretty good stuff. So now let's look at the counterpart over in Ecamm. So in Ecamm, again, we're back at the overlays. Overlays is where a lot of the magic happens. Scenes is where you design all of your overlays. And so your scenes kind of manage that. One of the things I want to show is that here in the scene, I'm actually using a scene to share my screen. So you can see this is share screen right there. And that is StreamYard that you're seeing because that is where my screen is. I'm using Ecamm to record this video. And so you're actually seeing a screen share. So the question has been answered since the beginning of the video because I've been doing a screen share the whole time. So yeah, you have some robust options here. I can change to my secondary, my primary, my tertiary, which is the teleprompter screen that I'm looking at right now. And you can change the orientation, 16:9, 4:3. You can change. You can actually share specific applications. Really cool stuff. Share specific applications, even up to and including the different windows. This really comes in handy when you're doing stuff like PowerPoint or Keynote. You can select the windows, and then you can also design it, give it that curved corners and the framing as well. In addition, I'm going to kind of build out the flow here. So let's add a background. Now here is the same PDF presentation, and you can see that now. And I'm going to move the camera switcher a little bit, more on that later. And here we can kind of go through our slides just like that. And I can add my camera. All right, it doesn't have to be round. I can add my camera right there on the screen, and I've designed these slides in a way that allows for my camera to be right on top so the slides can be big and I'm able to still present even by just hitting the arrow or on the Stream Deck or hitting my foot on the Stream Deck pedal. But you have a lot of options where your slides and presentations are concerned and screen sharing here in Ecamm. All right. you may ask, what about recording audio, video, not live? I love this question. I love this question. Over in StreamYard, you also have the ability to do this as well. You can do a record only, and you can actually edit that to where when you're getting ready to record, you can select local recording. That is not when we talk about local recording in Ecamm, it's already there. You're locally recording the entire time because Ecamm is local to your computer, whereas StreamYard is a browser. So that's where that distinction comes in terms of local recording. But when you turn it on, you do have the ability to record audio and video. And some people use the audio version for their podcast or, different other things. Maybe you need to do a voiceover, something like that. You have these options in terms of recording here in StreamYard. Now, over in Ecamm, you have the ability to have a presentation mode, more on that later. You can do a stream or you can do record. And so record is exactly what we just talked about in terms of recording. In fact, I am recording right now. This is a recording video that I'm doing right now. But yes, you can see here that I can go to the recording tab in the preferences window. I can record isolated audio tracks, as you can see. I can record individual cameras, and I'm going to share more on that later as well. I can set my countdown. I can choose my recording folder. I can even set a little prompt for the name of the video after the recording is complete. But you have some robust controls and functionality around recording here in Ecamm. All right, we're moving right along. I have 2 cameras. Will I need a switcher? Can I invite guests? Okay, that's great. I love this. We're moving right along. Let's take a look over in StreamYard. And yes, you have the ability here where you can see we have 1 camera added. When we click present, one of the things you can do is add an extra camera. That was a game changer feature that StreamYard added some years ago. And we have seen from even some other platforms that some web-based platforms are allowing you to add 2 and 3 cameras in addition to the one that you added when you first came in. So that's pretty cool. And when you have an additional camera, you can actually do a full screen switch with your camera if you so choose, just by clicking on the icon there. So let's remove this. Let's get our camera set up. Let's go here, change this to USB video. All right. So that's going to be our camera for that one. And then we'll do present, do extra camera, and we'll change this to webcam. And we'll say share. So now we have both cameras added. When you do this, you can actually do a full camera switch. That's basically a switcher in StreamYard. Pretty cool. You don't want to lose that functionality, I know. So let's take a look over in Ecamm, see where we're at. There's a whole camera switcher. When I'm clicking this button, you can see there's a window that's kind of disappearing over here to the side, and it's called Camera Switcher. There it is. Let's bring it out so you can kind of see it a little bit bigger. These are all the cameras I have connected to my computer. One is a webcam. The other 2 are cameras that are connected to capture cards. So one is a USB video capture card, and the other is a Elgato Camlink 4K capture card, and that's my primary one. And I could plug up more, but another thing that I really like about the camera switcher in Ecamm is the ability to set cameras to A, B, or C, so that when you're designing your scenes, you have your cameras already set and ready to go. So the camera switcher is a really robust tool and feature in Ecamm. But you also have right on screen, depending, right in this scene, we have a camera scene, right? My camera is there, and I can add my camera, I can add another camera, I can add my camera twice, and now you can see there's 4 cameras on screen. I can take those cameras back off, which I'm going to do right now. Let's remove those cameras real quick, and now let's switch between them. Now we had to do some work to set this up with StreamYard, but here in Ecamm, it's actually, as long as the camera can be seen, up to and including your phone, you can switch between them just like that. As long as the camera can be seen, you can switch between them very easily. And so now somebody said, we're really enjoying custom layouts and vertical streaming. Can Ecamm do that? Well, let's of course go on over to StreamYard first to make sure we have that feature. Somebody is enjoying this. So let's take a look. And so of course here in orientation, you have portrait mode. And when we do that, you can see that this is vertical and we have the ability to do some things there, which is really cool. In vertical mode, however, you do not have access to custom layouts. So let's switch that back real quick. So let's go back to general and make that back to landscape. You can make these changes before you go live or before you hit record, but you cannot make these changes once you are actually recording or streaming. So here, the other thing that I like to showcase is I do have some custom layouts. So I'm going to hit the settings button here. Let's go to layouts. You see layouts here, and you can see that I do have a couple of custom layouts. 2-cam crop. Let's showcase that one. So this is a custom layout that I have here. It shows up at the bottom, 2-cam crop. And so now you can see that I've got 2 cameras and they're cropped. Really cool that you can do that. And we can even show that background to match some kind of a background to match. So here we're going to put a background behind it. We've got some video. That's pretty cool. And we can even put another overlay that shows up in the middle. So it really kind of, showcases that design. And if you have some comments, you can put that comment down there. You can see how that showcases the functionality, the robust nature that you can stream with StreamYard. Really great. Okay, now what does Ecamm have to offer? Well, listen, you go into the preferences window and you can actually set your stream to whatever shape you want. As I mentioned before, if you go to the stream tab, you can select your stream size. I've got it set to 4K, 30 frames per second. But if you go to stream shape, you can actually go right to 9:16 and it crops right in, boom. And it's still very much customizable. You can put anything you want on this screen. And so we can change that to square. We can change it to wide again, which is where we get the whole camera in use. So you have a lot of functionality just there. In addition, you can actually showcase the vertical zone on your wide live stream. So if you're streaming to 2 different places, it'll show the vertical safe zone, and you can say okay on that, and you'll see that now there's a shaded area that shows with me this part will be shown on the streaming destinations that are vertical. So we have the ability to do that. How can Ecamm compare? I know this is a big one for many people. They're utilizing StreamYard in this way, and they want to know how can Ecamm match up. Let's just take a look at StreamYard on air. This is a test webinar that I set up. You can set your branding, you have registration, you have a watch page, you can embed this on your website. You can bring your guests on screen to chat with you. You have questions and comments, and the studio looks exactly the same. This is an on-air studio. You can see on-air viewer limit, managed registration, registrants, on-air settings, which is the screen we were just at. You can bring in comments directly from those who are in your webinar. It's a completely enclosed environment and experience specifically for your audience and for your group, for your community, if you will. And so a lot of people are utilizing this functionality to be able to continue making money, especially after the whole Facebook groups fiasco. So recently integrated directly with Zoom. And so I use Zoom actually to do my webinars. And so you're going to see, full Zoom integration right here. I'm showing preferences. I'm showing this is my login. I can actually schedule a meeting right from here in Ecamm. That would be a Zoom meeting, and everybody on the planet essentially knows Zoom at this point. Let me show you. Of course, this is me in my Zoom account scheduling a webinar test masterclass / webinar. I can actually set it so that people must register, and that would simply use the registration ability that's built into Zoom. And then here at the bottom, I can save it and I can do all the normal things. I don't need to showcase this much because many of us have already utilized this. Now, back over in Ecamm, I can control everything else. I see that's it right there. Test masterclass / webinar. So I have the ability to not only see that meeting, but I can open that meeting right here from Ecamm. and I can actually bring my meeting attendees into this window in Ecamm and actually bring them on their cameras on screen in Ecamm as well. For this test, I don't necessarily have anybody, but let me drag Zoom over. So this window I'm bringing in, this is not another camera of mine. This is Zoom. You can see it at the top and the bottom that's actually Zoom. So I wanted you to see that. It says Kirk Nugent on the screen there. If I go back to the screen share, that shows in Zoom my audio, my video. If I'm playing a video clip, if I'm doing a presentation, all the things that we've shown you so far, even the Zoom comments will come up in Ecamm, and it will show in Zoom. So if somebody's in Zoom and they comment, you can bring those comments into Ecamm and show them as well. You can see some of the designs that I'm kind of just playing around with. I just want you to be able to see that you have the ability to customize this in whatever way you see fit. There's 4. Let's put an overlay on top of that, and you can see what that looks like. And you can see everything that I'm doing is showing in Zoom. So, I mean, this is crazy. Look, we're going to put a comment up right now, and that comment is, because of layer priority, that comment is actually behind our overlays. And I'm just going to drag that underneath. You can see that that comment is now above the overlays, and that comment shows in Zoom too. And your Zoom comments would show as well. So this is a game-changing functionality, one of the newest pieces of additions, I should say, that Ecamm has added, and it really has gotten me across the line. And so for my StreamYard on air folks, even the functionality of being able to bring your guests on, this window that I'm showing you right now, the Ecamm window that you're seeing me move around in, that's where your guests, you can select them here and bring them right in. I don't have any participants. I'm actually just clicking to show that participant screen. Let me drag that over. I'm going to drag that over to this screen so you can see there's no participants in here, but if there were, they would show up in this screen. This is a game changer. This is absolutely clutch. And if, in my opinion, it is pound for pound a better option over and above what we can get from StreamYard with on air. So definitely excited to be able to showcase this to you for your consideration as you decide what you want to do in transitioning from StreamYard to Ecamm. If you have other questions that I missed, please share them in the comments. I'm already planning a part 2 for this transition guide. It might be a little shorter because this one went long. Did you know, inquiring minds want to know that you can record a standalone video with graphics or comments while live streaming with Ecamm? Yes, you can. And in this video right here, I walk you through all the steps and show how I use this feature regularly to churn out content even while live. Click here to watch, and I'll see you over there. Grace and peace, fam.